because, I mean, who wants to, after they have a bad round, who wants to go, like, talk about
Nobody.
it? No one.
Nobody.
So I get that, and it is kind of, and I don't follow it closely enough to know if that's, like, what everybody does. Obviously, it's Rory McIlroy, so anything he does is going to be under a microscope because he's just a name that we all know. Like you mentioned J.J. Spawn and how that's not a household name. Everyone in my household probably knows who Rory McIlroy is. No one in my household knew who J.J. Spawn was before this weekend. So the fact that it's Rory McIlroy, probably a bigger deal than it would be if it's anybody else. But look, if it's not contractual, I get it. Like, is it kind of cheap? I guess. Is there, like, you know, it would be really self-accountable if every single round that he did it and wasn't just, so he is kind of a front runner.
Yeah.
But
which isn't a great look.
I know. It's like, it's an eye roll.
It is. I got you. No doubt about it. Coming up, we'll go down to Cincinnati because we got some new news when it comes to Trey Hendrickson. Is anything really changing in the jungle when it comes to their star defensive player? We'll talk about it next. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Bob Yoakum, president of Rockford Homes, talks about what makes First Bank of Central Ohio different.
I would say it starts by caring. It starts by doing what you say you're going to do and following through on it. When you're talking about local, you're talking about relationships and people that matter to you. I don't care if that's personally or professionally.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Many drugs, like cocaine, methamphetamine, and non-prescription pills, are often cut with dangerous opioids like fentanyl. As a result, nearly 14 Ohioans die daily from unintentional overdoses. That's why it's important to carry naloxone, such as Narcan, a life-saving medication that blocks the effects of fentanyl and other opioids. Over the last 5 years, naloxone has saved over 83,000 lives. Help save lives and visit naloxone.ohio.gov to learn more and find free naloxone. Remember, if you see an overdose occurring, always call 911.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with a thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks, trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Hollywood Casino Columbus is bringing the funny this summer. Tiffany Haddish takes the mic on Friday, July 18th with the Funny and Fearless Tour. Then Dion Cole Live hits the stage Friday, September 5th for a night of nonstop laughs. 2 comedy icons, 2 unforgettable nights. Get your friends, grab a drink, and get ready to laugh all night long. Big names, big laughs, only at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Tickets available at Ticketmaster. Visit HollywoodColumbus.com for more details. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
As down payments get bigger, millions of renters across America feel like they'll never be able to buy a home. So instead of lowering expectations, Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus, helping more renters become owners. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
The Fan is the official station of summertime. Sipping on a lemonade, the smell of fresh-cut grass in the air, and Common Man playing fart noises on the radio.
Was that a fart?
Ah, summer. The Fan, Ohio's summer destination.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Are you in need of basic dental treatment but can't afford the cost? There may be a solution. Hi, I'm Dr. Hal Jeter, president of the Ohio Dental Association, and I'm excited to tell you about a program called Dental Options. Dental Options is a partnership between the Ohio Dental Association and the Ohio Department of Health, in which qualifying patients can be paired with a dentist to receive discounted or even free dental care. Eligibility for the program is based on your financial situation. For more information or to apply, call 1-888-765-6789.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see mostly cloudy skies today with peaks of sun here and there. Afternoon highs getting into the low 80s, and it will be humid. But we will see chances of showers and thunderstorms develop in the afternoon to early evening, although a little bit more spread out. Overnight lows tonight down into the 60s with better chances of showers and storms overnight. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
Bet365, the official online sportsbook of Rothman Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Anthony's tennis shorts were so tight, they had to pixelate his crotch. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
That you are. That you are. Welcome back in. I'm Matty Ice, TLC in the house today. Happy Monday to you. If there is such a thing. Is there such a thing as a happy Monday? Like, I don't even know why I said that. It didn't even make any sense. Nobody's happy on a Monday. Really?
I think the happiest Mondays are Memorial Day and Martin Luther King Day when you don't have to work or go to school.
Or, during football season, Victory Monday, right? Your
Victory
team
Monday.
wins. Ohio State wins. Mondays feel a little better.
The Mondays in here when the Steelers beat the Ravens on Sunday, and they feel pretty dang good.
Oh, because what's crazy you mentioned that is for, Lamar, the Steelers, they're the thorn in his side. Like, usually every player in sports.
On the playoffs last year.
That's true. Or at one team. Like, there's always that one squad, for whatever reason, you just cannot figure out for the most part. That's been it for Lamar. We were talking about J.J. Spawn winning the U.S. Open, and one of my favorite things to do when these tournaments are done, especially the majors, is look at the money and how that's divided up, amongst the field of players. And for J.J., he walks out of there with $4.3 million. But the money that you can make just for even finishing, like, say, in the top 30 is eye-opening. Like, Brooks Koepka tied for 12th in this thing, and a whole bunch of other guys tied for 12th too. He walked away with $348,000. And for him, that's probably like, hey, you know what, whatever, like, with the money that he's made. But it's crazy when you look at that. Like, Scottie Scheffler tied for 7th in this thing, walked away with $614,000. Now, for Scotty, we know he's used to winning the millions and millions of dollars more times than not. But it's wild that you can have, quote, an off weekend in golf and walk away with hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, how many people were watching the U.S. Open this weekend thinking, I could do that? Watching all of these duffed shots going, hey, that looks like me out there. I think I got a shot.
Yeah, no doubt. So, listen, man, this Trey Hendrickson situation, and Shamar Stewart, because I think you got to bake in both of those guys into the same pie here. But new news coming out of Cincinnati this weekend was that Cincinnati, the front office down there, Trey Hendrickson, his camp, have resumed communication on his contract. Okay. That's, I guess, good to hear. But I don't know if anything's really changed that much, because I think both these sides are dug in with their perspectives on what this should look like. Trey is a guy that we know has been very productive over the last few years in Cincinnati. 3 out of the 4 years in the Natty, the dude's been balling. Last year, he led the league in sacks. But when you look at what's gone on over the last few weeks, the last couple of months, the cards that Trey has played, whether that's speaking publicly about this situation and throwing his displeasures out there, eating over $100,000 in fines, throwing that statement out to Shefty, talking to members of the media and saying he'd be willing to miss games. This has gotten messy at this point. But when you are the Cincinnati Bengals and you've gone out and done what you've done financially this offseason, now there's this, I think, some conversations out there for some people who are saying, well, why are you stopping now? Why are you stopping now when you have a Super Bowl caliber team? You definitely have a Super Bowl caliber offense. We don't know about the defense and what that will look like this year. They got a lot to prove. But TLC, when you look at where they are now resuming talks, when I hear that, it's good to hear. But I don't know if either side of this negotiations on the negotiating table, either side of that table is going to say, oh, you know what? The years that I wanted, if I'm Trey, because I think that's what he wants. Yeah, I'm good with not having year 3 or 4 in this contract. I'll roll with 2 years. Or on the Bengals side of things, them upping the money to a astronomical number, getting him to that Myles Garrett number. I just don't think that anything has changed significantly until I hear that. My stance is going to be the same. And my stance is I don't think the Bengals are going to budge. I don't think they're going to budge now. I don't think they're going to budge come training camp. And I don't think they're going to budge come week 1 because this is a franchise that has done this time and time again. I think they're going to continue to do it and play hardball. And I think Trey Hendrickson is going to play out his last year in Cincinnati and go on to hit free agency and maybe get a deal somewhere else outside of the Natty.
Yeah, I think just because you resume communication does not mean that you are on the same page. Those are two entirely different things. So I do not think that we are necessarily that much closer. It's a step in the right direction. And what this comes down to, and you mentioned it, that Trey Hendrickson claims that he's willing to miss games. Is he actually willing to miss games?
Yeah.
It's easy to talk like that in May and June, man.
No.
But when those paychecks aren't coming and you know that you're due however many $1 million, Rothman's been saying, $1 million a game. So if you're due $1 million a game and you're just sitting around every single Sunday watching the team play, knowing that, hey, I'm not getting as much as I think I'm worth, but $1 million a game is still pretty dang valuable. At what point do you go, all right, I'm starting to get that itch? And so I think that this is a lot of tough talk. It's probably a lot of tough talk on both sides because they're both being stubborn. And, it's, again, easy to be stubborn in May and June where there's really no risk at this point. Trey Hendrickson, multi-millionaire, is going to give up $50,000 of minicamp money? Like, whatever. That's not changing his life.
Right.
And with the Bengals, they're probably thinking like, oh, he missed minicamp. Guess what? We don't need him to be in minicamp. He can just show up on game day and be a pretty dang good player.
What's interesting, too, is you mentioned the part where if this does spill over to the regular season, if you're Trey Hendrickson and let's say you miss the first 3 games, and the Bengals have, unfortunately, under Zach Taylor's watch, had a history of starting slow. But let's say the first 3 games, they go 1-2. And in those 2 losses are some defensive mistakes, quarterbacks for the opposing team driving up and down the field. And if you're Trey Hendrickson, you're sitting back, you're saying, man, I could have made that play. I could have been the difference in one of those games or both of those games. I think the guilt will kick in. Because Trey seems like he's a really good teammate. He seems like he's got the respect of guys in that locker room. We know this dude can play at a high level, but I'm with you. I think when we get to that point, he will show up eventually because he does care about his teammates. It's a very unfortunate situation because everything was peaches and cream for the most part in the offseason for Cincinnati based off of what they did with Jamar, what they did with T. Higgins, and then we turned the page into minicamp and OTAs, and here we are talking about this, and Trey Hendrickson's not there. Shamar Stewart has left the building. I cannot wait to see what that looks like come training camp in the next few weeks. Maybe they will get that figured out before we get to training camp popping off, but it doesn't seem like in that locker room that guys are frustrated with what's going on when it comes to Shamar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson. Ted Karras, one of the leaders of the team, he came out and said, there's no resentment. He said there isn't any harboring resentment in our locker room. I really hope both camps can figure this out because we have a really good team. We've had a super productive spring. You just don't want this to carry over into the summer. So that's what this is all about now, is them quieting the noise. Because when you're a good team like Cincinnati is, good to great team like Cincinnati is, you just don't want this BS going on. You just want it to be all about ball. And so I don't think this will take away from the regular season because I think all this will get figured out come week 1 when they go up to the land and take on the Brownies. But TLC, you know how this works, man. You just want this to be about Joe Burrow, Trey Hendrickson, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, those guys just focusing on the job at hand, and that's just getting in there and grinding every single day and hopefully getting to a point to where you can find yourself in a Super Bowl again, because if they do have any type of respectable defense with the offense they will have, this is a team that has to be dealt with and a team that we all know can be one of the last teams standing if they get everything in order.
Yeah, so it's funny that we're talking about this angle of it, too, because I got a couple sound bites here that we didn't even get to last week. So here was Zach Taylor on whether or not this is a distraction.
It gets a lot of attention in the media, and not as much attention in the locker room. And so I think it's very easy for us to isolate ourselves in these walls. We spend a lot of time here. You get asked questions about it, but you just learn to continue, keep it moving. So I think our players have done a great job just focusing on what's important inside the walls, getting our reps done in practice. Certainly gets a lot of headlines and stories and all that, but we don't worry about any of that stuff. And it could be a contract, it can be an injury, it can be any sort of adversity that's going to strike all 32 teams in this league. It's all going to come in different shapes and forms. It's how your team handles adversity the best, and this team's got a history of doing a great job handling adversity the right way.
Okay, so the Zach Taylor side is that's a lot of noise outside, not so much inside. That's for media, that's for fans. They think it's a big deal, but inside we're pretty focused. Joe Burrow was asked, hey, is this Trey holdout a distraction?
Of course. Last year we had 2. This year we have 1, so we do have less. You'd love to have none, but, that's life in the NFL. We're all supporting Trey and would love for him to be back.
So who's being honest?
Joe is.
Yeah, exactly.
And Joe has been honest this entire offseason. I think Joe's done a good job of playing the game publicly and applying pressure and realizing, oh, yeah, I'm the guy around here. I'm the face that runs the place, and I want to make sure that my teammates know that I have their back. And I think that can go a long way when you're the leader of the team, because I think it could be easy for guys that have the power that Joey B has to do some of this stuff behind the scenes, right? And just go to Mike Brown and go to Zach Taylor in their office and say, what are we doing? But when you take it to the streets and you put it out there publicly, that takes it up to a whole nother level. So I'm sure Trey, Shamar Stewart, all of these guys have to love what the face of the franchise is doing, because they know that number 9 is a true leader, a true friend, and he has my back, especially when it comes to this type of stuff. So Zach Taylor can say what he wants to say. It is a distraction. Will it have any impact on the team? I don't think so. It sounds like guys in-house respect what's going on. And usually more times than not, that's what you hear in sports. When guys know that their teammates are going to bat for themselves at that time when it comes to a contract, you rarely hear a player in-house say, you know what? I don't know what this guy's thinking. He's doing too much. Like, it's rare that you ever hear that. And so this will be fascinating to see. But again, the latest coming out of the weekend is that Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals have resumed communication when it comes to a contract. Coming up in 2 minutes, James Rapin, Locked On Bengals, does a great job of covering that squad down there in the Natty. We'll talk to him about Trey, Shamar, and a lot more right here on The Fan.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy? Oh,
she needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
With over 33 years in business, Newman Roofing believes white glove services shouldn't be a thing of the past. From the first call, you'll be greeted with friendly professionals to answer all your questions. Special financing options available now, so call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply.
Don't sweat it. Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your air conditioner fast. 1-800-COOLING.
Rothman Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
A perfect afternoon parlay. This is Rothman and Ice.
Welcome back in. Going to use right now the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Bring on one of our favorites. James Rapin does an awesome job covering the Bengals. Locked on Bengals. James, what's going on, my man? How are you?
What's up? I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. We appreciate your time. So, you know what I want to start with, James? I want to start with Shamar Stewart before we get into Trey Hendrickson and what is going on with this. Because national talking heads, people on the outside are dunking on the Bengals right now. Here we go again with money stuff with this team, and they cannot figure it out. Break this down for us. What is going on with Shamar Stewart and your thoughts on how the Bengals are approaching this right now?
Yeah, I think what the Bengals are trying to do is pretty – one, it's reasonable when you look across the rest of the NFL. And the reason they're in this spot is sort of it's because of how they structure contracts historically. So what they're trying to do with Shamar, that they didn't do with Amarius Mims last year or Myles Murphy the year prior, is put in default language. And without getting too into the weeds, what this language would do was it would give the Bengals a chance to get out of the guaranteed money. So let's say Shamar Stewart gets suspended or gets in trouble off the field or has a PED suspension. Jamison Williams is the really good example here because he's a former first rounder, was suspended for PEDs, and there was default language in his contract. All of his guaranteed money with the Lions was void. Not his contract. It doesn't mean that he doesn't get paid, but that money is no longer guaranteed. Guess what? He's seeing the end of his rookie deal and is an extension candidate in Detroit. So the Bengals historically don't give guaranteed money past year one. So they've never really had to have cross this bridge when it comes to some of their star players up until recently when Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and to a lesser degree T. Higgins all got guaranteed money past year one. And I think they looked at it, they looked across the league, and they said, hey, this is something we need to start doing. They tried to do it with Amarius last year, from what I've been told. That didn't work out. He ended up signing in July. But the reason why it's such a topic in June, and certainly was a topic in May, is because Shamar wasn't practicing. And so you have not practicing combined with the Bengals trying to set a new precedent, and Shamar certainly not being shy about talking about it. And boom, Bengals are in the national headlines. I'm not sure if they're going to get this language into the deal, but what they're asking for isn't completely out of left field and unreasonable or unprecedented when it comes to the rest of the NFL.
Talking to our guy, James Rapin, BengalsTalk.com, Locked on Bengals. If you're a Bengals fan, make sure you check out his work. It's really good stuff. Now let's go over to Trey. News coming out of the weekend, the two sides have resumed communication. James, I want to ask you this. When you look at what a potential contract should look like right now for Trey at this point in his career, what are your thoughts on that? The years, the money, what makes sense or what could make sense for both sides?
Yeah, I think Trey probably wants as long a term extension as possible, and the Bengals are probably reluctant to commit to multiple years down the line because he will be 31 in December. And you look at it, he's playing the best ball of his career over the past 2 years. If he was 27, you'd be like, yep, he's in his prime. But he's not. He's 30 going on 31. And I think that's where the disconnect is that the edge market has exploded in recent months and certainly gone in the player's favor. And the Bengals are probably trying to adjust to that a bit, especially considering Trey's age. Now, what I would say is I think that there's a compromise here where maybe the Bengals don't give him $35 million per year like Micah Parsons, or not Micah Parsons, that multiple edge rushers have gotten. Max Crosby was the one that kind of set things off. Micah Parsons is going to get 40 plus. So you certainly don't view him as a comparison, if you're the Bengals at least. But if you're Trey, you led the NFL in sacks. And so can they find a happy medium of getting Trey paid this year, which he's set to make just $16 million in base salary? He's probably the best non-quarterback bargain in the league or non-rookie contract bargain in the league as of right now. And so you want to get him more money this year and give him a year or two of security, I think, if you're the Bengals. Now, if you're Trey, you probably want 3 years. Can they find a happy medium there where he gets more cash this year, also has some stability, knows he's going to be in Cincinnati long term? I think they can find a happy medium. We'll see if they do. But I'm cautiously optimistic that they get something done.
So, James, we talked about Shamar Stewart, that contract situation. I want to ask you about this draft class. Outside of Shamar Stewart, the guys that they brought in-house from the collegiate ranks just a few weeks ago in the draft, is there a guy in this class, James, that you deem as a dude that can help them in a pretty impactful way in year one?
Well, they better hope and believe that it's going to be Dylan Fairchild, the rookie guard out of Georgia. They picked him with the idea that he would be a day one starter. And it's unique because you're talking about a third-round pick. And so they're really banking on him to have an impact right away. And Demetrius Knight as well. I mean, that to me was the shock of the draft, for them to take Demetrius Knight with Tate Ratledge still on the board. I know a guy that they held in high regard internally, Tate Ratledge, another guard out of Georgia, that was viewed as a plug-and-play starter from day one. And so you pass on him to take Demetrius Knight. Obviously, that had to do with Jermaine Pratt, his situation and his future. They released him last week. So they really need Demetrius Knight and Dylan Fairchild to play a huge role. Obviously, Shamar as well, but you said take him out. Fine. Even if you take him out, their next two picks really need to be day one starters and at least average NFL starters this season.
So what have you learned so far about Al Golden? He was a part of that really good Notre Dame staff and team last year. Now he comes down to Cincinnati, replaces Lou Anarumo as the new defensive coordinator. Being around Al, throughout these practices, OTAs, and mini camp, what's the vibe around the new defensive coordinator for the Bengals?
I think a couple of things. One, really stressing, and it's such a simple thing, but sometimes simple is better. And he's really stressing all the technique stuff and all the basic things that the Bengals stunk at last year. They were awful at tackling. I think back to the December game when they're 4-7 and they have to beat Pittsburgh at home, and Russell Wilson throws for 400 yards and is just crushing them. And it's a lot of dump offs. It's a lot of quick passes, and they just couldn't tackle. And simple things like that are being stressed right now. And the other big thing, and I think this is huge, especially when you get tested and when you are struggling, you want to be on the same page, and you don't want there to be finger pointing internally. You don't want anyone to look around and say, oh, well, this guy was doing this, or I was supposed to do that, or everyone's got to be on the same page. And I think you saw that with his Notre Dame defenses, and I can see that so far to this point. Now, does that mean it's going to work when they do meet some adversity and they do start to struggle at times, or they do hit a right? We'll see. But I think that you can see that come through in his style and in his coaching, and it bleeds down to the rest of his coaching staff that I've talked to, and then onto the players. So we'll see if it takes. But I certainly think that would be a good way to describe Al Golden thus far.
James, we'll get you out of here on this one. I want to ask you about Jermaine Burton and where he's at with his development. This was a guy, when they drafted him, I believe in the third round, they were like, okay, this is a good value pick for Cincinnati based off of his talent. And I know there's been some questionable stuff, with him not really locking in the way that he should consistently. But right now, Jermaine Burton, is this a guy that you could see being impactful this year, or does he still have a bit of an uphill climb to get to that point?
I think he could be impactful, but my definition of impactful for this Bengals offense might be a bit different than what most people would view as impactful. I think in an ideal world, Jermaine Burton is like your fifth or sixth option in the passing game, and that includes running back Chase Brown, obviously Mike Gesicki, Andre Yosevach. All three of those guys, I would imagine, are going to have more targets. Obviously, you have Jamar and T as well that are going to have more targets. So probably sixth at best for Jermaine. But he does have a unique skill set. And so if he can do all of the basic stuff that I just kind of hinted at on defense and for the defense, but for this offense, showing up to meetings, when he's on the field, making sure he runs the right route, and is blocking and is on the same page as Joe, if he does all of those things, well, you can see how he can track the ball deep downfield. I mean, he had 4 catches, averaged 20-plus yards per catch last year. He has a unique ability to get separation downfield, to have laid hands, to have really strong, reliable hands in awkward, unique positions downfield. So can he be the field stretcher for this team that complements Jamar and complements Andre and obviously T as a downfield threat? They certainly still need that. And so if he can do that, I think that's a huge boost for this offense. So I wouldn't forecast 50 receptions or anything like that for Jermaine, but I do think he could have an impact if he just stays the course, does all the basic things, because he does have talent, no doubt.
Yeah, it's good stuff. He's James Rapin, does an awesome job covering the Bengals. Check him out at bengalstalk.com as well as Locked On Bengals. James, as always, my man, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thanks.
Yeah, you got it, man. James Rapin was on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. When we come back, we round out the first hour on Mondays the same way, and it's Party Like a Rockstar time. That's right around the corner, right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic. Oh, yes. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, it's Anthony for my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. Summer savings, Rich is backing it up. He has rates as low as 0% and leases starting from $249 a month. How about a 25 Honda HR-V LX CVT two-wheel drive? Lease it for only $259 a month. 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $30.39 down. And all trades deserve a sweetener. He's giving you an extra $1,000 for yours. See them for all the details. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
When sudden illness or injury strike, Ohio State offers 3 types of urgent care to meet any of your needs. From traditional urgent care to our specialized orthopedic urgent care for activity-related injuries and advanced urgent care for more serious injury and illness. Ohio State's experts treat everything from broken bones to ear infections and colds and flu. When your illness or injury can't wait, the choice is clear.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward here, and I remember the first time I understood that old saying about giving a man a fish. It made so much sense, and I see examples of it all the time. Take the new weight loss meds, for instance. Think about this. You take a shot, you eat less, and you lose weight. But the second you stop, the weight comes back. You never actually changed anything besides eating less of the same bad things. I wasn't interested in renting my results. I wanted to own them. That's why I chose Awaken 180. I needed a lifestyle change, I knew it, and I was excited about it. A medication-free path to long-term weight loss. That's exactly what I got. It's been 1.5 years since I dropped my 50 pounds, and I've kept it all off. Awaken 180 taught me how to adjust my approach to food. A real-time education on how to keep it off while losing the weight. I say, learn how to fish. It's easy, it's fast. And for the long-term bonus, no medications. Do what I did and choose the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com, 844-346-1800.
As down payments get bigger, millions of renters across America feel like they'll never be able to buy a home. So instead of lowering expectations, Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with ONE+, helping more renters become owners. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
All power, zero compromise. Eagle cordless outdoor power equipment features advanced lithium battery technology that exceeds the power and performance of gas without the noise, fuss, or fumes. From mowers and trimmers to blowers and pressure washers, one battery powers over 90 tools. No wonder it's the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Power beyond belief. Visit egopowerplus.com to learn more or to find an Ego retailer near you. That's egopowerplus.com. Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Let's all gather into the Kiki. It's time to party like a Rothstar.
That it is. Welcome back in. I'm Matty Ice, TLC in the house with me today. Look, I'll lead this thing off. And I'm putting some respect or more respect on her name.
Oh, man.
That being Caitlin Clark.
Oh.
Who'd you think I was going to say, TLC?
I'll go with the other one next.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Look, Caitlin Clark, she was down for some time with an injury, had only played in 4 games prior to coming back on Saturday against the New York Liberty. New York Liberty came into Indy as the only undefeated team standing in the WNBA. They are the reigning and defending champs, led by Breanna Stewart and company. But Caitlin showed up, and she showed the heck out. Almost had a triple-double in 31 minutes. Caitlin Clark dropped 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal in the game, and 7 of 14 from 3.
9 points in 40 seconds.
Crazy. Like, she really is the female Steph Curry. When you watch her play, she's pulling up from right after half court. Like, it's nuts. Like, she made 3 threes in a row that were from deep. Right now, Caitlin Clark is the first woman in WNBA history to tally 100-plus points, 30-plus assists, and 30-plus rebounds through her first 5 games of a season. She is the straw that stirs the drink, to say the least. They got a fun team. The former Buckeye Kelsey Mitchell's a vet over there now. Aaliyah Boston's a good player. So there were some vets that came in and really round that roster into shape. Not only did she have a great individual performance, TLC, but they got it done against the best team in the league. Caitlin Clark, returning from injury this weekend, was partying like a Rothstar.
For credibility's sake.
You got to do it. You have to do it. I'm so glad that you're doing this. I don't know exactly what you're about to do, but I think I know, and I'm proud of you for doing this.
When a power forward gets 11 assists.
Talk about it.
Listen, Angel Reese.
You got to do it.
Fine. Hey, look, I'm still a hater, and I'm still going to be a hater.
She made you eat some crow today. She did. Well, she had a triple-double. I think it's funny. I don't want to take away from you, but I think her...
No, go ahead, because I don't enjoy this at all, so please.
I think Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are the only women in the WNBA this season to rack up triple-doubles, which she did, I believe, yesterday, correct?
I saw the headline on ESPN. It was in their, like, one of their top 10 headlines. It's Angel Reese is the second youngest player to get a triple-double. And I'm like, who could possibly be the first? And I'm like, I think I know who it is, and it's Caitlin Clark.
You know who it is.
But
yeah,
Angel Reese got a triple-double, 11 assists. That's real. Her, rebounding, whatever. Like, when you're taller than everybody else.
She's only 6'3". There's women taller than her.
Okay, fine. But look, again, I you know what? I should be nice. She's partying like a Rothstar. She got a triple-double, so I'll give it to her.
Yeah, she did. I mean, her full line, 11 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists, 3 steals, and a couple blocks in the game. So, yeah, I'm glad you're giving her flowers.
While her hair was getting pulled.
It was crazy. Crazy. Who else you got on Party Like a Rothstar this week?
Oh, I got whoever happens to be playing the American League Central, because the AL Central currently stands Tigers on a 2-game losing streak. I believe that was your Reds who contributed to that.
No doubt.
The Twins are on a 4-game losing streak. The Guardians are on a 3-game losing streak. The Royals are on a 6-game losing streak. And the White Sox are on a 5-game losing streak. So if you happen to be playing the AL Central recently, you have been partying like a Rothstar, which includes Ellie De La Cruz and the Reds.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie, 4-game home run streak as of today.
Uh-huh.
So if you're playing the AL Central, congratulations to all of you. You're all winning.
I like it. Second candidate for me. We got a pretty big trade that popped off in the NBA this weekend. Did not see this one coming.
And MLB.
Wild, right? But let's talk about the one in the NBA, because the Memphis Grizzlies, who surprised, I think, a lot of people this year when they fired their head coach in Taylor Jenkins, when things were going pretty well last few years. They've gone to the playoffs, yada, yada, yada. They've been a respectable basketball team. There's no doubt about it. So they had that surprise. And then they said, you know what? We're doubling down. Give me another one. They traded Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic are partying like a rockstar. I think they're building this thing out very, very well. Desmond Bane, top 30, 40 player in the league. Now you pair him with Franz Wagner. You pair him with Paolo Banchero and Jalen Suggs. You can see the vision. We just watched this Orlando Magic team a couple years ago push the Cavs to 7 games. And now here they are, I think, making the right type of move. You get a really good shooter in Desmond Bane around some guys that aren't great shooters in Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. And so I think this is exactly what they hoped that they were going to get when they signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a champ himself from Denver. But now they get a guy who's been around the league for a handful of years. In his career from 3, he is a 41% three-point maker. So I love this move for the Orlando Magic. He's only 26 years old. He fits their timeline, and I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with next year for the likes of, you know, the Cavs, Boston, the Knicks. You're not going to want to see the Orlando Magic a ton. So, yeah, Magic, their front office getting Desmond Bane. They're partying like a rockstar down there. I like it.
It was revealed over the weekend that Zach Wheeler, the Phillies starting pitcher, plans to retire after 2027. He's got 2 more years on his contract after this year, and then he's calling it quits after that. And, you know, he's got a pretty good living, Matty Ice. I don't know if you know this. But first of all, he's a very good player. This is his 6th year with the Phillies before he was with the Mets.
Yep.
And in 6 years with the Phillies, he's gotten to ERA in total under 3. So, really good player. He's making $42 million this year, $42 million next year, and $42 million in 2027. So he is going to be retired at the age of 37 with $254 million in career earnings. Now, that's his money, not mine. I'm never going to see it, so I don't care that much. But I can take a moment and just be like, you know what?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind being him for a day.
You know what's amazing? You mentioned the $40+ million this dude gets. He's playing every 5th day. Every 5th day.
And he's golfing the other 4,
That's
probably.
what I'm saying. Like, I know there's other stuff they do. They do some running and all that stuff on the side. But the real work is every 5th day. And so you get that contract. It's good living if you can get it, man. Kids, if you're into baseball, become a starting pitcher. It's the life you want to live. Last candidate for me. You brought it up. We got to talk about it. The San Francisco Giants. I'm in. Look, the whole situation in Boston with Rafael Devers was messy from jump. They signed Alex Bregman. He was not a fan of that trade. He did not want to move off of third base. He did not want to play first base. He didn't even want to go back to third base when Alex Bregman got hurt. That's how petty Rafael Devers was being with the Boston Red Sox. He's an amazing hitter, one of the best hitters in the American League, now goes over to the National League. What's crazy is they had a really good weekend, Boston did. I think they swept the Yankees. They handled business there. And right after the last game, they dropped this on us that they are trading their 3-time All-Star to the San Francisco Giants. But I think Buster Posey, who is now running the show out there for the San Francisco Giants, just did a really good job of getting a big-time bat in that lineup. You look at some of the moves they've made over the last couple of years. They brought in Matt Chapman. They brought in Adames this past offseason to play shortstop. So now the left side of your infield is set for a while with Willie Adames, Rafael Devers, 2 guys that can hit a whole bunch of home runs. Not a hitter-friendly ballpark at all, but this is a guy that I think will put up some good numbers out there. So the San Francisco Giants acquiring Rafael Devers this weekend, they're partying like a rockstar. I like what they cooked up there.
In the lovable losers category, I got you a 2 for 1. We'll start out with Obi Toppin, who had a really, really good game 4.
He did. Shout out to the Dayton Flyers.
And it was looking like Indiana was going to win that game, and he was going to be a key part of that.
Yeah.
He had some Johnny on the spot put back dunks. He made a couple threes. He had a nice little stretch there where he was a really big contributing factor. And then Grant Holmes, starting pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, 15 strikeouts against the Rockies. Then your reliever comes in, gives up 6 runs. You had no run support, and you lose 10-1. So those two, despite the fact that the team didn't do so well, Obi Toppin and Grant Holmes, they had themselves individually a pretty solid weekend.
How about this NBA Finals we're getting?
It's really good. I told you, I said, you got to make it really far and lose before you can make it really far and win. And it was almost looking like Indiana was going to go up 3-1, and I was thinking about you when I watched it, and then they collapsed, and then who cares?
Shea took over and said, there's a reason why I'm the MVP.
That was a travel, by the way.
You got to listen. You know what I like about this? Is not only in the finals, but throughout the playoffs. They're letting these dudes play. Pretty high level of physicality
The
going
defense
on.
is really good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Nembhard, Neesmith for the Pacers. These two, Dort for the Thunder.
The Thunder defense, they rotate like crazy.
It's absolutely wild.
Caruso's really good.
Yes. How about that pickup for them? Those are the guys you need in this moment. You got a young team, but you got a guy in Alex Caruso that is great defensively, like you're talking about. But twice in the finals, I believe, this dude scored north of 20 points. Unbelievable stuff. Game 5 tonight.
Shaq calls them others. The others got to step up.
And he's so right. He is so right about that. Coming up, next year's crop of quarterbacks coming out of college football is supposed to be a special one. One guy in that group is apparently ascending to the top of that list very quickly. We'll tell you who that is right after the break. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
Looking at games have been airing on WBNS since before you were born and before your parents were born. And before Abraham Lincoln was born. Trust me. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
Check it. Keno Double Booster is back every Monday in June. For all Keno tickets with Booster purchased between 3 and 5 o'clock, the Booster will be double. Check it. Your winnings could be boosted by as much as 20 times. Don't miss out. Get your Keno ticket with Booster every Monday from 3 to 5 o'clock.
Cool.
Lottery players are subject to commission laws and regulations. Play responsibly.
Check it. Hey, it's Anthony. Comfort is king. We all strive for it, but life gets in the way. You know that. And oh, my aching feet is not just a cliche. That's why the Good Feet store, in my opinion, has the best arch support solutions engineered to help you and me live the life we love without pain. For more than 30 years, they've taken great pleasure in helping thousands discover the comfort they've been dreaming of. I'm a customer. I have their 3-step system put right into all my shoes. They support, balance, and strengthen my feet and really guide them right into their ideal position. Every step I take, every move I make, I get relief. Not from the song, although I love that, but from my personally fit arch supports from the Good Feet store. Your free fitting is designed to help them understand you, your pain, and your discomfort, your personalized system. You'll walk out wearing your new arch supports hassle-free and begin living the life you love without pain. The Good Feet store on Stringtown Road in Grove City or Polaris Parkway. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Summer is finally here. That means long days, warm nights, barbecues, sporting events, and that vacation you've been planning for months. The last thing you want to deal with is a leaking roof or unexpected damage to your home. At Newman Roofing, we understand that life gets busy and your time is important. And that's why we designed our entire process around you. Whether it's your roof, siding, or gutters, we believe in doing things the right way, not the rushed way. No high-pressure sales, no pushy pitches, just honest conversations from professionals who respect your time and your home. When you call Newman Roofing, here's what you can expect. First, we'll take time to diagnose the issue, not just slap on a quick fix. Then we'll present clear, quality solutions and answer your questions so you can make the best decision for your family and your budget. And right now, we're offering special financing options so you can protect your home without putting your summer plans on hold. So go ahead, fire up the grill, pack your bags, or hit the ball field. Let Newman Roofing take care of the rest. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived, the only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, and hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
When an orthopedic injury or condition gets in the way of life, there is nothing more important than finding a physician you can trust. At Orthopedic One, you'll find Central Ohio's most trusted team of orthopedic experts, ready to listen to your concerns and work with you toward the best possible outcome. In fact, more people trust Orthopedic One than any other practice in Central Ohio. Start with the specialists. Start with orthopedic1.com.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Baker. The NBA Finals knotted up at 2 games apiece. They haven't played since Friday, but they're back at it tonight in Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Pacers at 8:30. You can hear it right here on The Fan starting at 8 immediately after the Buckeye show. The Stanley Cup Finals resume play tomorrow night at 8 down in Florida. The Panthers lead that series over the Edmonton Oilers 3-2. Blue Jackets goaltender Elvis Merzlikins has been named to the first 6 for the Latvian roster at the upcoming 2026 Olympics. The Reds, Guardians, and Clippers with off days. All 3 start new series tomorrow. Cincinnati hosts the Minnesota Twins. Cleveland on the road to face the San Francisco Giants. And Columbus returns home to battle the Indianapolis Indians. This one's sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Rates as low as 5.54% and a $400 cash bonus when you refinance your auto loan with BMI.
Live golf team name is Ice Dogs. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
That you are. Welcome back in. Matty Ice, TLC on the board. And now to my right is Ryan Baker. The Bake Show, 1/3 of the wonderful show that is Bishop and Friends, which you can hear every day, Monday through Friday, 9 to noon, right here on the Fan. Bake Show, what's up, my man?
I was sitting in the other studio there, Matty, and I heard you in here grinding by yourself, you and Cole. And I was like, I cannot let the guy that I used to run the mean streets of Whitehall with. I mean, I got to give him a life raft. I got to go in there. And I mean, not that you need one. You guys were doing a great job, but I was like, I got to go help my boy out.
Well, I appreciate you, man. You're a guy that you love to grind, too, because you've been getting it in, calling, softball games, baseball games. What aren't you doing right now?
I just try to live my life like Tyvis Powell, and I try to be getting it in all the time. So you know how it is, Matty.
Yeah.
If those checks are going to cash,
I'm
going to keep trying to get them.
I'm not mad at that at all. Tyvis is also a guy that does not believe in taking naps, which I don't understand. I always tell him, I say, Tyvis, you're not going to miss anything.
I don't believe that.
Take a half-hour nap.
Yeah. I'm a huge nap guy. I have always said that the country of Mexico gets it right. They have the siesta, where they get a little 2-hour nap in around lunchtime, and then they'll maybe work till about 6 p.m. That's the way to go. Get you a little refresher.
What do you got to say, TLC? I see you smirking over there.
Oh, I went to Spain a couple of years ago. First of all, if we had the flex sound bite, we got to come up with some sort of sound effect for when somebody flexes something. Like that one time that Rothman was like, "So I was texting a hockey coach last night." You remember that?
Yeah.
So I guess I need a sound bite for that. But the siestas were a thing back there.
I think you just hit like the Macho Man. Oh yeah, that's in there, and that's a good
idea. That's a good idea.
Flex.
That's for sure. You know, Bake Show, it's crazy. I was talking to CB, our former producer, earlier, And I said, we're in mid-June. Mid-June. Ohio State plays on August 30th. It's wild that that's closer than what I really think. It's wild that it's going to be here before we know it. But what's going to be fun this year, college football is always great, right? Especially here in Columbus. Last year, that ride was awesome from start to finish in that thing, being the last team standing. That's what it's all about. But you turn the page into the 2025 season, and there are people that are, quote, in the know, that really grind the tape, that all 22 film, Big Show. And then they're telling us that the crop of quarterbacks coming out next year is supposed to be one of the best we've seen in a very long time. One of those guys that really has the draft streets buzzing right now is Lenore Sellers. Lenore Sellers is South Carolina's starting quarterback. And Dane Brugler, who covers the draft really well, I believe, with the best of them. You've got the Todd McShays, the Mel Kipers, the Daniel Jeremiahs, and I think Dane is in that handful of guys that do it at the highest level. He has him now projected to go second overall in his draft. Over at CBS, they have him going second overall as well. Then ESPN has him going fourth overall as well. Long way to go, obviously. But Bake Show, I don't think this is a household name in Lenore Sellers. I've caught him a couple of times, honestly. Haven't watched a ton of him throughout the years, or the year that he has been the guy, but he's a dual threat dude. He's got the size. He's got the athleticism. Ran north of 670 yards last year, 7 touchdowns on the ground as well. And so he seems to be a dude. He really does seem to be a dude on paper. But when you got a guy like Dane Brugler, having him going second overall in his mock draft next year, this is a guy we need to watch out for in the coming football season.
I'm a mock draft nerd.
Me too. I love
looking at them. I don't think you can have them out too early. I enjoy them, and almost everyone I've seen for next year, he's a guy that's in the top 10. Like just about everyone, he's in there. Now, where he is in that top 10, it just depends, but he's in there. I don't know if I've seen him as 2 that high. He's a guy that I really didn't even hear about. Like when I paid attention to South Carolina last year, I paid attention to Dylan Stewart because that freshman is a freak, and I know that he was a guy that chose South Carolina over Ohio State. Ohio State was right there in the running for him.
And real quick, just Dylan Stewart, pass rusher.
Yes,
for South Carolina.
End.
Yeah, he's a stud.
He's a guy that I paid attention to, a game wrecker as a freshman. I really didn't hear anything about Lenore Sellers until it came out that he was like the freshman of the year over Jeremiah Smith on the offensive side of the ball, and I was like, wait a second. And I looked at his numbers, and he's a guy that obviously the traits are there, all the athletic ability, and he's a guy that's still probably a little bit of a work in progress. And his numbers aren't as great as some of the others, but over 2,500 yards passing last year, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and where you mentioned it, he can do it a little bit with his legs, almost 700 yards rushing and 7 more touchdowns. So this is a guy that we know how these NFL coaches are. A lot of times they want a lump of clay. They want the best lump of clay they can get. And then it's their job to make it into a vase or a bowl or whatever they're going to do there at the potter's wheel. Lenore Sellers is a guy that when you're going over and you're grabbing a lump of clay, he's one of the first ones you're grabbing.
100%. No doubt. And for his sake, you just want, or he should want, the passing part of his game to just be consistent, because when you're a guy that has the traits that he has, I think what could scare some teams off in the NFL if he does not turn himself into a complete quarterback, which he was pretty doggone good last year doing that, is the Anthony Richardsons of the world, right? You can have the traits, and I wholeheartedly understand and with you on your example of how coaches want to mold these guys, but you better be able to have some type of safe floor. So for Lenore Sellers, that needs to come into play. One guy, though, that could come out next year that people are pretty high on, that I cannot wait to see ball, is Nico Iamaleava, because now he has a chance to really up his stock, I think, because he's not going to be playing with the elite talent that Tennessee had recruited and that offense that Josh Heupel has put together, which has been a high-flying offense the last few years. But you go over to UCLA, you come into the Big Ten, and you do it with, quote, lesser talent than what you had down there in Knoxville. he's got a chance, I think, to really remind some people how talented he is, because he's been out of sight, out of mind now. And I think he will be out of sight, out of mind for the most part, because I don't believe UCLA is going to be doing a whole bunch of significant winning this year. But you just talk about pure skill set next year. Like, he is the guy more so than a K. Klubnik for me, more so than a Garrett Nussmeier, that I think is more attractive just based off of skills alone. Those guys may be deemed better quarterbacks based off of their numbers and what it looks like at the end of the year. But for Nico Iamaleava, he's got everything you can want. 6'6", running ability, powerful arm, and all those things. But I think he can turn himself into an aircraft carrier this year out there in Cali. And the perception of him, I think, can be a lot better than what it is right now, because his play last year was inconsistent. I don't think the NFL is going to care too much about the whole NIL situation. I don't think that will be an issue. But I like Nico. I like his skills. And I think you go out there and you put some dudes on your back, you put the team on your back out there in Cali, out there on the left coast, then I think he can be right there at the top of this list come next spring.
I'm all out on Nico.
You're completely out.
I'm all out. And you know what? If he was that good, Tennessee would have done whatever they could have to keep him, I think. I think he was probably the 6th or 7th best quarterback in the SEC last year. I think he made a terrible choice in leaving Tennessee and going to UCLA the way that worked out. I think he overplayed his hand. And like you said, nobody's going to pay attention to him this year unless he is ridiculously spectacular, like you're saying, and he can lead UCLA to something. But I just don't think that football team is good enough for him to lead to newer heights for what they've been. So I'm out on Nico.
He would have to get in his Caleb Williams bag.
He's a tough dude, though.
He is.
He showed his toughness here at the shoe last year.
He really did. Like, he was fighting, and he kept swinging when things didn't look great for Tennessee. But I just think his NFL traits that he has, I think they're there. I understand what you're saying, and I just happen to think, man, this dude now, and I think year 3 at the college level, he's going to put it all together, and I think he'll be a pretty doggone good quarterback for UCLA. So the guy to watch out for is Lenore Sellers down there in Columbia, because this guy is going to be, or supposed to be, the next one in line after maybe Arch Manning to be one of the top quarterbacks drafted next year. Coming up, talk a little Cavs. The Cavs have been receiving calls on one of their all-star players. What should they do? We'll dive into that after the break. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
As down payments get bigger, millions of renters across America feel like they'll never be able to buy a home. So instead of lowering expectations, Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus, helping more renters become owners. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks.